Hey, you! Yeah, you! Stop listening to those same basic metal bands over and over again and give some love to these 10 groups that have been putting out straight fire for years but get little to no respect for it.
No respect? I don't get no respect at all. Are you kidding me?
First up, we're talking about Exo Crime. So this is an incredibly talented French technical and progressive death metal band I've been championing since Ascension in 2017, but they've been kicking around since about 2013. And all that time dropping album after album of total bangers, most recently in 2022 with the Hybrid Suns. Few bands manage to be so spectacularly technical while also delivering great songs that are highly memorable. There are stunning solos and other wankery, but always built on a foundation of a highly satisfying and deeply infectious groove. If you ask me, it's a crime that these guys aren't being discussed alongside the likes of Archspire and Obscura. Next up, we have Nightbringer. This is actually just one of several black metal projects from the mind of Colorado musician Nas Alchemeth alongside Akhlys and Eredos, to name a few. The focus is on building dense walls of imposing melodies that build a sense of both wonder and dread. Unholy snarls echo from the ether, sounding like some warlock casting dark spells from the nether realm. Its atmosphere sometimes rising to the level of Emperor, even without the symphonic elements, and easily something at least of equal attention as Magua or Imperial Triumphant. And in addition to the 5 albums that this band has put out since 2008, again there are plenty more of equal quality to explore in a similar vein from his other projects, so get to it. Then we have Within Destruction. This band has been building up more and more traction over the years, but I still think that with the right marketing and a viral hit, they could be just as big as Slaughter to Prevail or Bring Me the Horizon. They started off with some truly brutal deathcore with the likes of Void and Death Wish, which were what caught my attention to begin with. But over the course of Yokai and now Lotus, they have been leaning even further into metalcore, nu metal, and trap metal elements for what the band now cheekily describe as animetal. The result is honestly not far off from what Born of Osiris are doing, and Howard's guitar work has really added an entirely new level of exploration. And you can actually check out a video collab I did with him discussing his influences, but at the very least, if you even dabble in any of the things I've talked about, there's a lot of fun to be had with Within Destruction. Next up is The Lion's Daughter. I was actually surprised to see that this St. Louis crew has apparently been around since 2007, because they have only just started to get any sort of worthy attention. I jumped on with 2016's Existence is Horror, which was a delicious slice of atmospheric and haunting sludge, but now that they're fusing that with synth influences from classic horror soundtracks like The Exorcist and the works of John Carpenter, I think they've really found their niche. 2021's Skin Show in particular is such an incredible display of terror and unease that's equal parts Neurosis and Dario Argento. Especially as we enter spooky season, The Lion's Daughter is the perfect soundtrack for all of your Halloween festivities. Please spread the word. And speaking of which, don't forget to like and comment your most underrated bands down in the comments, but we continue with The Armed. Now, The Armed can be a difficult band to nail down because depending on what album you pick up, you're bound to get something completely different, and yet it's all executed to perfection. Originally formed as a hardcore punk band in Detroit, Michigan in 2009, they have since gone on to drop one of my favorite metalcore albums of 2015 in Untitled, but also the highly experimental art house noise of 2021's Ultra Pop. With each release, it's like they got bored and end up completely reinventing the wheel in new and exciting ways, and complemented each cycle by mind-blowing and visually rich music videos and even a short film. And with a rotating lineup that has included the likes of Chris Penny and Ben Kohler over the years, how could that not be a recipe for success? Changing things up again, we have Serenity in Murder. Another band I've been absolutely shouting from the rooftops, Serenity In Murder is one of the best melodic death metal bands that no one has heard of. Their full-length releases date back to 2011, but with each subsequent album, their sound has only gotten bigger and more refined over the years, rivaling the likes of Dark Tranquillity and Soilwork in their mixing of synth atmosphere and a seemingly endless wellspring of guitar hooks on the likes of Reborn and the Eclipse. The only thing holding this band back? The fact that they are Japanese and have little to no marketing presence overseas. Even attempting to buy their music is a major chore due to lack of international distribution, so help them out by sharing them with all of your Melodeath loving friends because, if you ask me, they're absolutely worth it. Then we have Greyhaven. Not only has this band dropped one of my favorite albums of 2022 in this bright and beautiful world, they have been lingering in the shadows of Every Time I Die since roughly 2014. Now it's sad that those giants may have to hang it up for a band already strong on their own merits to get the spotlight. But that stage is seemingly empty and they are the prime project to step right in. Capable of total rippers like For an Anchor, softer rock moments like Candy, and then seriously catchy stuff like A Painful and Necessary Action, these guys can do it all. The songwriting is sharp, dynamic, and deeply engaging, and once more with each new release stronger and more mature than the last. They already have a pretty rabid underground fan base, but everything about this band's trajectory screams more mainstream appeal.
Just do it!
Then of course, highly requested, we have to talk about Windir. Now, I've lost count at this point of how many videos I've mentioned Windir in, and it's for good reason, though, that I continue to do so, while also seeing them strongly recommended in the comments. Admittedly, those in the know regarding black metal tend to be pretty familiar, but they don't have the same cross-genre name recognition as bands like Dissection and Gorgoroth. Sadly, the main mastermind behind the project, Valfar, passed away in a freak snowstorm in 2004, but he left behind 4 incredible albums with some of the best riffs in melodic black metal. I'm particularly partial to 1184 and Lickford, but really every one of their releases has so much to offer in both atmosphere and energy. The latter even to the point that they're one of the few bands in the genre I can actually work out to. If you somehow still not taken the dive, I implore you to do so now. Next on the list is Orbit Culture. Now, this was arguably the most recommended band when I asked for your input for this list on the community tab, and while even I myself have still not fully invested in their music, I've always been impressed when I check out new songs as they come out. This Swedish band dates back to 2013, and with each full-length and EP, they seem to garner more and more praise. Genre tags frequently list them as melodic death metal and groove metal, but I'd draw some parallels to Gojira's more streamlined take on progressive as well. Songs tend to be very dynamic, balancing moody atmosphere with cathartic, chug-heavy headbang sessions. I'm not in love with some of the more Hetfield-esque vocals, but everything else makes me want to go down the Orbit Culture rabbit hole. And then we have Sigh. This band, they are just one of the greatest of all time. Regular viewers know that I have a particular passion for all music on the weird and avant-garde side of the spectrum, and on that list, Sigh easily makes the top 5 at least. Every album offers something a little bit different, from symphonic black metal to infusions of saxophone, 70s psychedelic prog, and anime soundtrack-worthy operatics. There's just something so exciting about listening to their music and the sheer unpredictability of what Mirai will do next. And it's a shame that while the underground absolutely worships them, few outside of that bubble even know their name. I recently did a tier list of their entire discography, so if you want to hear my more in-depth thoughts and consider the best point of entry, you can check that out right here. Again, let me know your other picks down in the comments, and you can also check out part 1 if you missed it. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.